Hello all, welcome. Today we are doing something very fun that no one asked for. I recently had a repressed memory resurface. Welcome back, babes. We missed you. I love what you did with your hair. I wanted to say quickly before we got into it, I started a new channel. This channel will be dedicated to book videos, so wrap-ups, TBRs, book vlogs, things of that ilk. So if you're into reading content, check me out over there. I'm going to be doing a little double header, so the day that this video comes out, I'm also going to put out my first book video on that channel. I'm if you could not tell, a bit of an avid reader over here. Okay, back to this video, Repressed Nightmare. Yes. This repressed memory is of a Hello Kitty movie I watched growing up. I can still picture so clearly the blue VHS tape in my mind. I am not convinced it is not still in my house somewhere. This was one of those memories where I could not remember if it was real or a dream. I had read it working overtime, putting in the shoddy details I could remember. So let's get into it. The video we're going to be talking about today is a short film called Hello Kitty, The Day the Big Clock Stopped. Very ominous. This is a short film collection called Hello Kitty and Friends Summer of Fun. I was actually a pretty big Hello Kitty fan growing up. I had some movies, I had some toys. I distinctly remember some stickers, like the puffy stickers, that I'm also not convinced aren't still in my house. Right off the bat, guys, this title card, beautiful, gorgeous, amazing, the star of the show. They do not make them like this anymore. It is excellent. Guys, okay, so the music starts. It's like the little intro music. I'm pretty sure this plays before every single short on the VCR or the VHS tape. Guys, the way this gave me a little fear. It's kind of like that feeling when you know you're forgetting something, or you know you're forgetting something important. You're kind of a little bit a little bit weird about it. That's kind of what it felt like when I heard this intro song. Oh my god, it was crazy. I remember this so vividly. This is such a strange feeling. It felt like seeing a friend from kindergarten, or you're like, oh my god, yes, I know you, but you're like, it's a little hazy, there's some little Scooby-Doo clouds over your memory. Also, this was released in 1992, which is kind of confusing because this VHS had no business being in my house. I was barely born in 99 and my oldest sibling is 4 years older than me. So I'm not computing. AI, hey Siri, can you run that math back again because I'm not understanding.
Sorry, there's nothing to repeat.
The show opens on Kitty and Mimi waking up in bed. Kitty immediately clocks that the sun is not where it's supposed to be in the sky. Kitty should get a full ride for astronomy because the way they just woke up and she immediately knew it was so impressive, and they did not use an alarm. Her chakras must be fully aligned to wake up at the exact same time every morning and just know that. Also, in my noggin, her name is Hello Kitty, not just Kitty, so that just took a little bit of mental gymnastics to get used to. They noticed their clock stopped at exactly 5:45 a.m., which they refer to as 5:45. Which child, babes, is calling it that? They're like, oh, our clock isn't working. We should check the other clock. What is the closest clock? The cuckoo clock. Of course. They noticed the cuckoo clock also stuck at 5:45 a.m. Something strange is going on, guys. I don't feel so good.
Did you guys hear that? I'm scared.
Their mom walks in and says, we're late for a very important date. She says all the clocks in the house aren't working and they need to hustle, which I'm not sure how she knows that. I don't know the clocks are working, but I digress. Maybe she also can read the sun. Maybe they all have sundials.
They all say.
The girls get ready really, really fast, and one of them says, I'm getting my overalls on, but I thought she said I'm getting my eyebrows on, and I was just I was shocked.
I'm getting my eyebrows on. Okay.
As I was saying, they're in a really big hurry, so of course they run downstairs and sit down to a full English breakfast. Their mom walks in with some food and she says, girls, it might just be me, but is that clock going really fast? Now y'all, when I say this clock was going so fast, it could have lifted a plane off the ground. Miss Kitty, who has been gaslighting you into doubting your thoughts? We can help you. We're here for you. Mimi and Kitty book it to school and they arrive just as the bell's ringing. They sprint to make it to class and they're followed by two of their classmates, so they know they can't be running too late. They make it just in time and they open the door to their classroom. One of their classmates is like, oh my god, I'm so glad you guys made it. You made it just in time for lunch. gagged them all, gagged me in particular. Mimi goes to the window and she says, guys, there's no way in hell, the sun is still way too low. And honestly, Mimi can also get an astronomy full ride. Congratulations, girls, this is so exciting for you in your futures. While they're discussing what time it actually is, all you can see is this ginormous A- written on the chalkboard, and there's like not a single teacher in sight, not a single adult in sight. It's just impeccable background design, honestly, amazing work. A- for you, dare I say. The conversation they have is so Y2K, nobody knows what time it is, none of the technology is working, everything is in chaos. The kids who have been at school, so the bell's just ringing whenever it wants. The bell said freedom of speech, and because of this, the kids just keep leaving when the bell goes off. So they're just like running all over the place. I honestly appreciate the commitment to the bit. So because of the bells, the cats leave early. When they get home, Mrs. Kitty has made them cookie dough to make cutout cookies, which I'm very jealous. I love a soft sugar cookie. The cutout cookies they make is letters, so they spell out their names basically, and this is when I realized that Mimi spells her name Mimi, which is just wild. They set the timer and go help their mom with the laundry, and can you guess where this is going? The timer goes completely haywire, it's all over the place, it does not work at all, so the cookies are in way too long and they burn. There's just black, effusive smoke everywhere, like filling their whole entire kitchen. They were seconds away from the worst day of their lives. The girls tell their mom they'll bring the clocks to the clock shop and just end this madness. The mom lets them get on the bus by themselves, and these are for sure children, so I wouldn't mind if you could just please hold a second while I call CPS. This is not some like rural community, right? Like this is gonna be like Tykes on the Ton, this is Babies on the Boulevard. They get on a double-decker bus and I'm just really confused where they're supposed to be. The characters are American, but sometimes their accents do stray like a little British, a la Anya Taylor-Joy. There was a British student, not to mention this bus is insanely British, and also they had that ginormous breakfast. The mom's outfit is kind of giving Amish vibes, just, you know, sprinkle that into the mix. So they're on the bus and there's just this unmoving clip of them staring into the abyss holding their clocks. I'm telling my kids this is what TikTok used to be. Okay, brain rot in either case. A child turns around and asks them what they're doing on the bus and they say, oh, we're going to the clock shop. And he's like, oh, what's wrong with your clock? And it's like, we don't know. That's why we're going to the clock shop. Like a bleach in town. The bear's name is Thomas and he has his clock and he says, oh hey, I'm going to the clock shop too, and then notice his clock is also stopped at 5:45, which is very suspicious. All of a sudden a bunch of kids show up, like children of the corn, just all a bunch of kids who show up on the bus and like, hey, we're also going to the clock shop. Hey, we also have neglectful parents. Why are there so many wild children on this bus? All the kids' clocks are stuck at 5:45, which is a diabolically early time. Someone left a diaper on the seat of my bus last week. The sheep child says her mom asked her grandpa, because he was a clockmaker, what's up? And the grandpa said, oh, you have to ask Big Ben. Now, naturally you would think this is another point for the British, but actually she says her grandpa lives in Florida. Okay, anyways. It's hard to get more American than Florida Man. We see the bus drive by Big Ben and brother, I'm so confused, like where are they? Big Ben is noticeably stuck at 5:45 a.m. Also, the narrator is British. It low-key sounds like Julie Andrews, but the only person cited in the credits is the voice of Hello Kitty, like it's the only voice actor I saw. They pull up to the clock shop and the line outside the clock shop looks like a college bar on a Thursday night. One of the children leave the group to go call their parents to say they're going to be late, and he has to leave the group because he has to go find a landline. This simultaneously makes me feel blessed for having a phone and also cursed to not have this kind of peace. I just want to point out there's something very eerie about this show because all of their eyes are just kind of like black ovals or black circles of some sort. There's no pupil or not much, dare I say, life behind those eyes. And they don't really blink. It's definitely a really old style of animation where there's not a lot of like stagnant movement. And that makes sense. Like if somebody's standing still, there's no like wind moving their hair or like their fur doesn't look like furry. So if nobody's moving in a scene, it's literally just kind of like a still image to silence. And sometimes they choose to have them facing you like you're there. Like they'll just be like looking you and dead in the eye and you're kind of like who are you looking at? It's kind of a little eerie sometimes, I must admit. They go up to the window to see how the clock shop is doing, to see if the clock shop is open, and they see an owl in there working on a clock, and the owl's name is Mr. Schmidt. Mr. Schmidt has a lot of cuckoo clocks and they all start going off at once, which is like a little weird, right? He's an owl and all the cuckoo clocks are birds. Never mind. While this is happening, we see a cuckoo bird fly off its clock. Mr. Schmidt is going through it. He cannot handle the pressure. So Kitty and Mimi go in and they offer their assistance. They offer their help. They say, Mr. Schmidt, we got you. Don't worry about it. We're on it. The cuckoo bird that flew off becomes sentient. Of course. He becomes sentient and he watches the girls help Mr. Schmidt. It is super normal behavior, no questions. We then cut to Kitty and Mimi. They're back in bed. It is nighttime. They are cashed. Long day. And y'all, okay, I must flag this. This is the part I remember so vividly, so vividly. We go into Kitty's dream. This is the first thing we see.
But not without a few strange thoughts sneaking into their dreams.
Excuse me, sir, but would you happen to know what time it is? I've lost my clock.
Tell me that's not terrifying. Bro, the Hat Man wishes. The audio gave me like a visceral reaction. I cannot even explain to you the feeling. It is so yee. I'm just gonna play the audio for you.
No, I'm sorry, I don't. I'll never know what time it is again.
Wait! I'm sorry! Come back! I need to find my clock!
Okay, so you think that's weird? Get a load of this.
Hello? What kind of a clock are you?
I am the crooked-handed squiggly time clock.
Okay, what about this? Tell me that would not scare you as a child. Ice in my whole body. Okay, you thought that one was weird? What about that one? The utter fear of this dream wakes Kitty up. Like, her screams wake Mimi up. The girls then hear a tapping at their window, and this is the point, genuinely, this is the point where you get the gun. Charlie XCX said, "I want to buy a gun. This is why." It's revealed to be the cuckoo clock bird, and they just let him in. You know, he's a stranger, but okay. He says he needs their help, and he thinks this has something to do with the Big Ben in their town. He says if Big Ben is wacko, none of the clocks know what to do, which does kind of imply that the clocks are sentient. Also, who told Mr. Cuckoo about this? Like, how did he find this out? Is his whole feed just Big Ben conspiracies? They say, "Dog, you should ask Mr. Schmidt about this." And he's like, "Oh, but Mr. Schmidt is so tired from working all day." Hey, by the way, these children went to school and then helped Mr. Schmidt all day. So, like, I feel like maybe they should be allowed to rest. This is giving major, "do you want some candy" vibes. He's like, "Oh, the clock tower is really sick. You can see the whole town. It's really awesome. Just come with me, please." And the girls are like, "Whoa, okay, say less." So they follow the mystery person they don't know into the night. Right. Okay, right. Hello Kitty literally says, "Oh, you better take us now before we have second thoughts." Like, hey, maybe have second thoughts. You know, perchance have third thoughts. You know, people on TikTok, they aren't having that many thoughts anymore. There's plenty to go around. And so, hey, guess where the bird brings them? Do you have a guess on where the bird brings them? Is it a dark forest? Is it a dark forest at night? So the girls muster their courage and they run through the forest together. Like, yay or something. They arrive at the clock tower and they go to the top where like all the cogs and wheels are. Hey, so like, guess where the bird leads them now? Did you guess out on the ledge? Because you'd be right. The bird looks up and he's like, "Hey, there's something on the minute hand." And they all look up. We see it is another bird. This one is crying. And this one is also like alive. I almost said human. It's like not a cuckoo bird. Is a cuckoo bird alive? Not sure. So yeah, they see it's a bird crying. Like, we're all getting kind of the weird vibe here, right? And this is like a little bit of a scary vibe for a children's show. The bird tells them that she just hatched on top of the tower, and when she had tried to fly, she like couldn't do it, and basically she fell off the top and landed on the minute hand. Now she's too afraid to try flying again. And they're all like, "Hey girl, you can do it. Just jump. Just jump." Mr. Cuckoo tells her she's really lucky because once she starts flying, she'll be able to go wherever she wants, whenever she wants. And we get this like silent reaction shot of the girls for just multiple seconds. Mr. Cuckoo says his life is so regulated because he has to be in his clock on the hour every hour to like announce the hour. Mr. Cuckoo says something like, "Oh, my owner is really nice at least," but for some reason I thought I heard him say, "Oh, my owner isn't very nice," and I was like, oh my god, you're just exposing Mr. Schmidt to the girls right now. But he wasn't saying that. Mr. Cuckoo says sometimes he's so tired he can barely like make a noise at midnight, and like I get it, and I'm really feeling for you, Mr. Cuckoo, but like also I don't know if like this is the time and the place. I feel like we really need to focus on helping like the bird right now. The girls start flapping their arms, being like, "Oh, you can do it, just flap," and they start like jumping up and down, and as they're doing this, Kitty's foot slips on the ledge and Kitty literally falls off the ledge. Mimi tries helping her, but Mimi like isn't able to pull Kitty up, and they both literally fall off the clock tower. Both the birdies like dive bomb, and they're able to grab the girls before they literally pancake, and so they fly with the girls for a little bit like skinny legends. Okay, they're able to fly with them. With the bird off the minute hand, Big Ben is able to like react back to what time it's supposed to be, and so luckily all the other clocks start working too. Thank you, Supreme Leader Big Ben. We cut to the girls in the morning. They're sleeping in their bed and they have their alarm go off and they realize the clocks are back. Woo! And they start celebrating, and Miss Kitty watches them and she's like, "Oh wow, they're very excited for a Monday." And I just want to say that makes absolutely no sense because they just went to school yesterday. So you're saying they went to school on a Sunday? So that's the show. That's the movie. That's the short. Ooh. So hey, like, why did we have that terrifying dream sequence? Like, hey, what was that about? Like, hey, was that necessary, do we think? Anyways, thanks for coming down memory lane with me. This collection, this movie collection, like Hello Kitty and Friends Summer Fun, has many more shorts, and I do think I need to watch the rest of them. There was also a few Care Bear VHSs that I was really obsessed with, so I do feel like I need to find those as well. Thanks for watching, everyone. This was really fun. I know it was kind of random, but it spoke to me. I fear it spoke to me and it needed to be done. If you want to see my future videos in your sub box, do not forget to subscribe. Sorry I've been gone for a while. The Star Wars video I posted before this was pretty high effort. It took a lot. On top of that, really more why I've been gone is just because it's the summer. I've been traveling. I went home for a little while, so it's just been like kind of a little bit busy. I haven't had a weekend to myself in a while. And also on top of that, I got sick for a while. It's such a scam getting sick in the summer, I think, but I had a really bad, I think, sinus infection for like 2 weeks, so that took me out. I was not productive at all. But I'm back, hopefully. I'm hoping that I can, get back a little bit on a schedule again. So thank you for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will hopefully see you guys soon, in a few weeks, hopefully. And yeah, peace, love, happiness. See you in the next one. Ciao, Bella. Hello, Kitty.